Good day, Junior Tickies. I'm Mrs. Brimacone. A reminder, we are busy looking at the November 2019 Paper 1. The first part of the video, we focused on this question looking at the adjustments only. Now our approach is going to be, how do we complete this in an exam? How do I start? So when asked to complete only the income statement, you actually do not care what goes into the balance sheet account section because they've only asked us to do the income statement. And when completing the income statement, it's all about adjusting the figures from the nominal account section, which has been given to you from the pre-adjustment trial balance. We either need to add or we need to subtract. So your step number 1 should be to first record everything from the nominal account section and take it where it's supposed to go. Second step, then we look at the adjustments. Should we add or should we subtract? What forms part of our income and our expense for this accounting period? And the last step, then we're going to close all our brackets, calculate the final amounts, and then complete our format, the Statement of Comprehensive Income. Now, just very important, in grade 11, you've learned provision for bad debts adjustment. That is calculated on your book debt, which is your debtors control balance. So when you go through the exam paper, just check, where's provision for bad debts? There's it at number 4. They've not asked us to complete it, calculating it on the book debt, which is the balance of your debtors control. So it's not necessary to open the debtors control T account to make sure that you know what is your updated debtors control balance. If you look at the trading stock, you will need to calculate if there's a deficit or surplus. So if you ask to do the income statement, my advice is always to open a T account for trading stock and show all the transactions that has an effect on the trading stock in the trading stock account, so that you can make sure that you use your new updated balance when you compare the physical stock balance with that from the trading stock account. As mentioned earlier, when we approach this question now, we start from the nominal account section. This is what you should know by now. Everything from the nominal account section will appear in your Statement of Comprehensive Income. That's another word for income statement. Now take note on your answer booklet that there's already figures that were given to you. Do not change the figures on an answer booklet. Keep it as it is. So starting with question number 1 or step number 1, we write the totals from the pre-adjustment trial balance in brackets. Cost of sales was given to you. You should know that debtors allowances is always closed off to the sales account. Do not forget about that. Then they provided us with rent income. It forms part of your other operating income. Salaries and wages in brackets, 150,000. Insurance in brackets, 9,800. Packing material is an expense, so it forms part of your operating expenses, and in brackets, 8,305. Bank charges, 748. Interest on fixed deposit forms part of your interest income. Remember that note number 1 and note number 2 is interest income, interest expense. If they don't ask you to complete those 2 notes, this must be shown directly on your Statement of Comprehensive Income and ensure that you show it in brackets. Now, moving on to the adjustments. So the first adjustment on 27 February 2019, a debtor returned goods with a selling price of 4,500. The cost was 2,500. This credit note issued was not recorded. It means that directly in your sales, we are going to say minus 4,500, the selling price, and the cost must be subtracted from cost of sales. Remember, the goods were returned, our expense will decrease. Do not forget to open up the trading stock. The balance from the pre-adjustment trial balance was 68,000. Trading stock is debited with 2,500. If you look now at adjustment number 2, on 28th February, the physical stock count revealed the following. Trading stock 66,400. So this is our end balance. If you take the debit side minus the credit side, you will get exactly the same answer. If you do add the debit side, it's equal to 75,000. If we compare it to the balance which is left over, it shows that there's a trading stock deficit of 4,100. So make sure now that in your income statement that you show your calculations in brackets, and the final amount, the trading stock deficit, is equal to 4,100. Packing material, whatever is left over, must be subtracted from the amount in the pre-adjustment trial balance. Our total expense, 6,005. Adjustment number 3, the tenant had paid rent up to 31 March. The rent was increased by 10% from the 1st of June 2019. The easy part here is understanding that an income was received in advance, and anything that we've received in advance, it falls outside of my accounting period, must be taken out. So to find out the rent, 1 month was received in advance. We cannot take the 42,000 and divide it by 13 due to the rent that increased with 10% on the 1st of June. Remember that there's 2 methods. If you use method number 1, it's a quicker way to get to the answer which I'm looking for. And that is, what is the amount after the increase? Reminder, if you take 3 times 100, it equals 300. For 10 months, it was at 110%, which is 1,100. So 42,000 times 110 divided by 1,400 equals the amount after the increase. If you use method number 2, using X, it will provide you with the amount before the increase. Then you still need to calculate what is it after the increase. Either or, if you're using method 1 or method number 2. What should happen with rent income minus 3,300? 1 month must be taken out. So our total income for this year is 38,700. Provision for bad debts must be reduced by 400. That is your provision for bad debts adjustment. If it's reduced, it goes straight to operating income as provision for bad debts adjustment 400. Do not take the figure from the pre-adjustment trial balance, provision for bad debts, and minus 400 from that. It says there, it must be reduced by 400. This is the amount that will appear in your income statement. Adjustment number 5. Insurance includes a premium of 2,800 paid for the period 1 November 2018 to 30 June 2019. Easy part, anything that falls outside of our accounting period must be taken out. So now we need to calculate how much must be taken out. From the 1st of November until 30 June is equal to 8 months. 4 months should be included, which means 4 months should be excluded. So insurance, we're going to say minus 1,400. That is my total expense for this accounting period. Please do not take the 9,800. and say times 4 divided by 12 or 4 divided by 8. That's completely wrong. Included into that total is an insurance premium that cost us 2,800, which we paid for equivalent to 8 months, and 4 months is outside of our accounting period, which means it must be taken out. Adjustment number 6. Mogale was omitted in the salaries journal. If it's omitted, it means it should be added. What do I care about when we're doing income statement or statement of comprehensive income? I only care about the gross salary and the contributions. But now they made it a little bit more challenging. The net salary is a question mark and the gross salary is a question mark. Note, the pension fund deduction of 8% is deducted from the gross salary. So if I want to find out the gross salary, to get the pension fund amount of 960, you would have taken the gross salary times 8%. Now they provided us with that figure. It means we need to work backwards. To find out the gross, we're going to take the deduction times 100 divided by 8. 12,000 must be added to the salaries and wages. Take note of the employer's contribution. They've already given that figure to you, so you don't need to calculate it. Do not change the figure. Let's say, for instance, you got a different answer. Do not change that which is given on the answer booklet. Our total expense for salaries and wages is 150,000 plus the 12,000. That equals 162,000. If we look at the next adjustment, number 7, receive a loan statement from the Bank of Tshwane, balance on the 1st of March 2018, capitalized interest, repayment during the year, and the balance at the end is given. So the question mark is for interest. You need to calculate the interest. If we're doing this now, you've got 2 options. You can open up a T account, or you can say, if we're working from this statement, we're working from the bottom to the top to find capitalized interest. So 205,000 plus 80,000 minus 260,000. Make sure that you show your calculations in brackets. If you're doing your T account, you will get exactly the same answer. The balance in the beginning minus the repayments minus the balance at the end, or take the debit minus the credit, it gives you exactly the same answer, 25,000. Make sure this is in brackets because it's an expense. Adjustment number 8, depreciation on tangible assets was 18,000 for the year. Easy mark to get. You should know it forms part of your operating expenses, 18,000. Then we've got interest on fixed deposit for February 2019 was not recorded. Interest on fixed deposit is not capitalized. It means that it's not added to the fixed deposit. Now take note of this. They provided the figure on the answer booklet. So if you just take the 9,600 minus the 8,800, that is the interest that is still outstanding. If we look at the calculation and you take 120,000 times 8% times 1 divided by 12, 800 is outstanding. 120,000 times 8%, 9,600 is our total interest for this accounting period. So again, they provided the figure. Do not change the figure if you come across a different answer. Then we've got now the last step. We've looked at all of our adjustments. So now we can close the brackets to calculate sales. Ensure that you take the 800,000 which was given to you. Do not exclude the 800,000 to find out the total sales for this year. Cost of sales, 390,000 minus 2,500. Make sure it is in brackets. Sales minus cost of sales equals the gross profit. Now we can calculate our total other operating income by adding everything which is in that block. Gross profit plus other operating income equals my gross operating expenses. My gross operating income. If I look at my operating expenses, we still need to solve bank charges. There were no change to the bank charges, so it stays exactly the same. Now, everything in that block must be added together and shown in brackets. Gross operating income minus operating expenses equals my operating profit, plus interest income equals profit before interest expense minus interest expense equals my net profit for the year. Again, make sure when you're completing this question that you follow these steps, and remember, trading stock, even if this is only the income statement, we want to open trading stock because we need the new updated balance to calculate a surplus or deficit. If you were asked to calculate provision for bad debts on the book debt, you need to open your debtors control to make sure that you know what's your new updated balance in the debtors control account. Now, when you're looking at the memo now, you would notice that there are ticks with a block around that. That is a method mark. So when we look at, and this is not just a free mark for writing anything there. If you look at the first method mark in sales, one part must be correct for you to get that method mark. Now, when a figure is given to you, that 800,000, it doesn't include the one part must be correct. So this means that you had to have either that 14,600 or that 4,500 correct in order to get that one part. If we're looking at check operation, to get that method mark, we look at, did you take your sales minus cost of sales? That's when you will get that method mark. So every time it says check operation, we actually look, have you done the steps correctly? If it says one part, it means one of those things needs to be at least correct for you to get that method mark. This is why it is so important. Make sure that you show your calculations in brackets. If your final answer is correct, great, you get full marks. But as soon as you've got something wrong, then you can earn at least part marks if you've shown your calculations in brackets. So this question focused on the income statement only. Remember that there are different ways in which the income statement can be asked. They could have also asked you where you needed to calculate the correct net profit. Next, we're going to look at question 2. Have a wonderful day.